Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics. I'm Taylor Phillips, and welcome to Taylor's Detroit Sports on Spreaker. You can also find this and all other episodes of Taylor's Detroit Sports on iHeartRadio. If you have any opinions on everything that's going on in the Detroit sports world, call in or send a text message live on the show at 231-429-3668. That's 231-429-3668. Also, you can add me on Facebook as Taylor Phillips, online at facebook.com/Phil1DT. Like my Facebook page, Taylor Phillips' Detroit Sports page. Join my Facebook group, Taylor Phillips' Detroit Sports Group, and follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips.
And this is episode 99 on Spreaker and on iHeartRadio. Coming up tonight on this episode, Pistons lose again, and evidence shows that they still can't improve. In Atlanta, talk about the upcoming matchup between the Red Wings and Maple Leafs on the ice, plus Daniel Alfredsson calling it quits. Gonna look up some college basketball scores too. Just a couple for tonight. Also, college football coming up tomorrow. MSU and Rutgers in East Lansing, U of M in Maryland and in Ann Arbor. Central Michigan and Western Michigan in Mount Pleasant, and Eastern Michigan in Ball State. We're also going to get to plenty of Lions news too, as well as a little update on the Tigers and Max Scherzer. A little news on the Tigers and Max Scherzer here. First, the Pistons drop another one, 99-89. Keith Langlois, before I read the recap from Pistons.com, just like they have in all their losses tonight, they were really lacking rebounding and defense. Their defense is not even paying attention. And that's just poor basketball. Had they done a much better job rebounding and playing better defense, then with Stan Van Gundy and this talented roster of players, the Pistons should have been 11-2. And don't give me any of this, oh, it's just early in the season garbage. here. There we go. Plus on defense, they are too shy to block shots. And if you're not paying attention on defense, your opponent, every single one of your opposing teams is going to burn you, especially from the from behind the three-point line. And any fan who says it's only early in the season is being extremely lazy. And if there are other people that don't like the Pistons or the NBA, then this doesn't apply to them. I'm sorry, but I don't consider them real fans. No matter what they think of it. The Pistons trailed 70 to 51. But then went on a 23 to 4 run to tie the game at 74. Then they stalled again. There have been plenty of rebounding chances that the Pistons thought they should have had. And for some reason, or somehow, the Pistons defense went back to not paying attention. And Keith Langlois writes that the offense continues to struggle. The Pistons entered the game 29th in the NBA in shooting percentage and finished under 40%, 37 again in this one. Look at the totals here. Jeff Teague led the Hawks offensively with 28 points. Paul Millsap added a double-double of 15 points and 12 rebounds. Andre Drummond led Detroit with a double-double of 13 points and 16 rebounds. Pistons have off until Tuesday when they travel to Milwaukee and play the Bucks. That's at 8 o'clock on Fox Sports Detroit and on 105.1 Detroit Sports 105.1 WMGC FM in Royal Oak, and on DetroitSports1051.com. Allowed by copyright law. Pistons now dropped to 3-10. And again, I mentioned they, instead of being 3-10, they should have been 11-2. Or at least 9-4. A compressed game schedule has made it difficult for Stan Van Gundy to address areas of concern in practice, simply because the practices have been few and far between. Over the past 2+ weeks, the Pistons have had time for only 3 practices. Coaches don't like to allude to oppressive conditions caused by the schedule, because they don't want players to have built-in reasons to expect difficulty or failure. But Van Gundy admitted before Friday's game that it was less than ideal, especially because it's his first year. Quote, "I do think in some ways it impedes our progress, especially as a team getting used to something new. But that's just the schedule of the NBA. You can't worry about it too much." Unquote. Let's go over to DetroitRedWings.com. Trying to get a preview of the Wings and Leafs in Toronto tomorrow. That puck drop's at 7, and it's on Fox Sports Detroit and 97.1 The Ticket in Southfield. And on the entire Detroit Red Wings radio network with Ken Cal and Paul Woods. Maple Leafs seek answer for Red Wings Zetterberg. For Red Wings left winger Captain Henrik Zetterberg. Detroit Red Wings captain Henrik Zetterberg, the left winger, led the way in the first 2 games against the Toronto Maple Leafs, which were played as a rare home-and-home set on back-to-back days. After pacing Detroit with 4 assists in a 4-1 win at Air Canada Center, Zetterberg scored the game-winning goal at Joe Louis Arena with 8.7 seconds left, not 10. It's about 10 seconds left. 8.7 seconds to be exact, left in overtime of the second game of the home-and-home series. The Red Wings are 5-0-1 against the Maple Leafs since moving into the Atlantic Division of the Eastern Conference last season. The Red Wings team scope forward Tomas Tatar is red hot. He has 4 goals and an assist in a 4-game point streak and has scored the game-winning goal in 2 straight, including a 4-3 victory Thursday at the Winnipeg Jets. Jimmy Howard will get back in net against Toronto, but backup Peter Mrazek impressed coach Mike Babcock by holding the Red Wings close Thursday in a game in which they started slowly. Detroit played without center Pavel Datsyuk, who will also miss the game against the Leafs due to his lingering groin soreness. The Red Wings also have rookie defenseman Xavier Ouellet up from Grand Rapids, the Griffins, who apparently lost to the Lake Erie Monsters on the road earlier tonight, 5-4. You can check out the Griffins Game Day Twitter handle at Griffins Game Day and see that there is no result tweeted by that Twitter account. Griffins Game, whoever's behind the Griffins Game Day Twitter handle is snoozing somehow or for some reason. And that's unacceptable. While defenseman Brendan Smith with a hand infection is sidelined, still on the 7-day injured reserve, which opted not to practice Friday, has won. I don't know why they decided not to practice. They've won three of their past 4 games and has earned overall, and has earned at least a point in 6 of its previous 7. For the Maple Leafs, a 5-2 home victory Thursday against the Tampa Bay Lightning snapped the Tampa Bay Lightning snapped a 3-game losing streak and dimmed some of the negative spotlight on the Maple Leafs. They've been outscored by a combined 15-4 margin in their previous 2 defeats, and the level of criticism was high. A day after the big win, right winger Phil Kessel fell in practice Friday and left early after developing neck stiffness. Coach Randy Carlyle doesn't expect Kessel to miss the game Saturday. So, yeah, neck stiffness isn't much of an injury, you would imagine. Forward Joffrey Lupul with a hand will not play tomorrow against Detroit, but his return is imminent, according to Carlisle. Forward Brandon Kozun with an ankle injury is practicing but won't play, and forward David Booth, the former Michigan State Spartan from like 13 to 14 years ago with a foot injury, was loaned to the AHL's Toronto Marlies for a conditioning stint. Defenseman Cody Franson had an assist Thursday to extend his point streak to 9 games. With 2 goals and 9 assists, Carlisle did not reveal his goaltending choice. The Wings are 10-4-5 with 25 points, and the Maple Leafs are 10-8-2 with 22. The Wings are 4-2-3. On the road, the Leafs are 6-6-0 at home. The Wings' power play is 19.5%. Their penalty killing 89.6, very high. still leads. I think it still leads the league. The Leafs power play 20.3%. That's still a bit low. Well, power play. The power play for each team is still very low. The Maple Leafs penalty killing unit 84.3. Share that on Google here. Again, Red Wings Maple Leafs, 7 o'clock tomorrow on Fox Sports Detroit with Ken Daniels and Chris Osgood, and on 97.1 The Ticket in Southfield and the Detroit Red Wings Radio Network with Ken Cow and Paul Woods. And Jeff Rieger at the 1-800-CALL-SAM Studios in Southfield. On 97.1. The game is also televised nationally on CBC's Hockey Night in Canada. Going over to college basketball scores in the Mitten. Number 19, Michigan State. The Spartans beat Loyola-Illinois 87-52. Brandon Dawson finished with 15 points. Matt Costello finished with a double-double of 13 points and 11 rebounds. And Milton Doyle also had 13 tallies. Central Michigan opened up their the Chippewas opened up their Central Michigan tournament tonight with a win over Maine, 76-46 in Mount Pleasant. And Eastern Michigan beats Youngstown State 71-62. Let's go over to college football now. Michigan State and Rutgers in East Lansing. From MLive.com, Michigan State is better than Rutgers everywhere but special teams, written by Mike Griffith. Follow him on Twitter at MikeGriffith32. Michigan State has the edge in quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, in the running back department, we look for Jeremy Langford and Nick Hill to rush for more than 100 yards each, and Delton Williams might chip in and get a carry, get about a couple carries. Wide receiver Tony Lippett hasn't had a 100-yard game since a three-catch, 103-yard effort against Michigan in a 35-11 victory in East Lansing a few weeks ago. In fact, a month ago. Offensive line goes to Michigan State. Left tackle Jack Conklin has still yet to allow a sack. 0 sacks allowed by Conklin. But the left guard position is shaky if senior Travis Jackson can't play. That could force true freshman Brian Allen into action. Left guard Caleb Johnson for Rutgers is a 4-year starter and probably the best of the bunch. The Scarlet Knights are rotating senior Taj Alexander and freshman J.J. Denman. The defensive line edge goes to Michigan State. Defensive ends Shalik Calhoun and Marcus Rush are solid, but the defensive tackle play has experienced some drop-off since being pushed around by Ohio State. Damon Knox and Malik McDowell are pushing starters Lawrence Thomas and Joel Heath for snaps. Linebackers edge goes to Michigan State. The Spartans linebackers played well against Maryland, particularly Ed Davis and Riley Bulla. Tywan Jones is playing his final game in Spartan Stadium. He's a senior. Darian Harris hasn't made a big play since Purdue. Steve Longo was expected to up his production for Rutgers after moving from middle linebacker outside to outside linebacker, but his production has actually dropped off this season. The secondary defense goes to Michigan State. Cornerbacks Trey Waynes and Darian Hicks will be tested by Nova's big arm and deep passes, and they won't be able to count on much help from Curtis Drummond and R.J. Williamson, who have had their hands full. The Spartan secondary needs better technique, according to Pat Narduzzi. For Rutgers, cornerback Gary Glashan has emerged as the most solid player in the secondary. Senior Lorenzo Waters had a reputation as a big hitter, but he hasn't had his best season, and the Knights' safeties haven't been a strong point. And finally, special teams edge goes to Rutgers. Kicker Kyle Federico is 11 of 15 field goals. None game deciding one way or the other. The punting has not been so good, as 2 players have been used at the position. Grant is a dangerous return man, averaging 24.7 on kick returns and 7.5 on punt returns. Teray has blocked 3 field goals. For Michigan State, Michael Geiger made 3 of 4 field goals last week to break out of a slump, while Mike Sadler had one of his better games. The kick return game has been mediocre at best, 20.6 yards per return. The coverage was not sharp against Maryland last week, and Mark D'Antonio said he would get it dialed in. And speaking of Maryland, they take on Michigan at the Big House in Ann Arbor. By the way, Michigan State takes on Rutgers at noon. On BTN. The Maryland-Michigan game will be televised at 3:30 on BTN. As well. Position breakdown between those 2 teams. Quarterbacks edge goes to Maryland. Devin Gardner is coming off his worst game of the season 2 weeks ago at Northwestern. He's also at 8 touchdowns versus 13 interceptions on the year. For Maryland, C.J. Brown's been at under 50% through the air for a month. He's also averaging just 4.8 yards per attempt in those games, Running backs. Goes to Michigan. Drake Johnson and Davion Smith have combined to rush 51 times for 294 yards and 3 touchdowns over the past 2 games. And as for Maryland, only the Penn State Nittany Lions have had a worse rushing attack than Maryland in the Big Ten, and Penn State's rushing game might be historically bad. The Terrapins' leading rusher, Brown, actually, their quarterback, he's got 117 carries for 375 yards. 75 of them on 1 run. Junior Brandon Ross, the leading running back, has as many single-digit rushing games, 5, as he does double-digit games. The offensive line. Edge goes to Michigan. The Wolverines are getting better up front, slowly but surely. This is written by Nick Baumgartner of NLive.com. Mason Cole, Jack Miller, and Ben Braden have started all 10 of their games. The group's been together now for 6 straight games. Graham Glasgow started 9, and Kyle Kalis has started 6. The numbers aren't eye-popping, but they're far from the embarrassment of last season. For Maryland, the Terrapins' running game puts up just 113.9 yards per game, which is worse than what Michigan tallied a year ago. The Terrapins allowed 6.6 tackles per loss per game, and they've given up 27 sacks, which ranks 103rd nationally. Wide receivers and tight ends, the edge is even. Devin Funchess has only 3 touchdowns, and in the season opener has only got caught 1 since it. He's totaled up to 4 touchdown receptions. Amara Darbo has made 13 catches for 148 yards the last 2 weeks. And for Maryland, the loss of Stephon Diggs for the regular season hurts. And their offense in the wide receivers, tight ends department is far less explosive with him on the bench. Senior Deion Long is the next most consistent wideout, but freshman Juwan Winfrey, 6'2", 195, went for 80 yards and a touchdown last week at home against Michigan State. On defense, the defensive line edge goes to Michigan. Frank Clark's gone. He may face a fouling for his domestic violence charge, but Mario Ojemudia and Taco Charlton are individuals aren't better than Clark, but together they might be able to come close to replacing his production. Michigan still has Brennan Bayer, Willie Henry, Brian Mon, and Ryan Glasgow, and it isn't number 7 nationally against the run because of the one guy. Linebackers goes to Michigan. Jake Ryan is 10 tackles away from becoming the 35th member of Michigan's 100 tackles in a season club. Yannick Ngakoue is a playmaker, making up to 5 sacks and 12.5 tackles for a loss on the year as a rushing linebacker in Maryland's 3-4 scheme. Secondary goes to Maryland. Sophomore corner William Likely is the most active defense back in the league. Picked off 5 interceptions, tied for the league high in defense, and knocked down 12. While for Michigan, Blake Countess seems to be going the other direction, mainly as a nickel. Michigan's defensive backfield made a few plays 2 weeks ago against Northwestern, but nearly blew the game late with an inability to get off the field. And special teams goes to Maryland as well. Brandon Craddock hasn't missed a kick this season. He's 14 for 14 with a long of 57 yards. Matt Wiley and Will Hagerup were terrific against Northwestern. If they had off nights, Michigan might have lost the football game. Also, Amara Darbo seemed to have better success as a punt returner than Dennis Northfleet, who should be back Saturday after missing last week due to injury. Hagerup's the third best punter in the league. Wiley's been solid, but the return game's still pretty absent. Now to CMU and WMU. They square off at 1 at Kelly Short Stadium in Mount Pleasant on their flagship station 95.3 WCFX in Mount Pleasant and Clare. See here. CMU freshman running back Devon Spalding finished with 147 yards and 2 touchdowns on 22 attempts against the Red Hawks in a 34-27 win last week. Chips are 7-4 overall, 5-12 MAC. The Broncos are 7-3 and 5-1 in the MAC. Both teams are bowl eligible. WMU is perhaps the surprise team in the MAC after winning just one game a year ago. They enter Saturday's game riding a 5-game winning streak. Broncos have won 5 straight. Saturday's winner takes the victory cannon and the Michigan MAC Trophy. The Michigan MAC Trophy, which goes to the team with the best head-to-head record between the Chippewas Broncos and the Eastern Michigan Eagles. Both defeated the Eagles earlier this season. And yeah, there is a trophy. Western freshman Jarvion Franklin leads the MAC in all-purpose yards per game, 147.4, while Terrell is third in total offense with 288.2. Corey Davis is the second in MAC with 118.8 yards receiving per game. His brother Titus is 90. For the Chippewas is third with 94.4. The Broncos are first in the MAC at 36.2 points per game. The Chippewas lead the league in total defense, scoring defense, rushing defense, and pass defense. I'll tweet that and share it. See if I can fit all the rest in here. Eastern Michigan and Ball State on ESPN3.com at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Eastern Michigan 0-6 overall. Away, and Ball State 1-4. Ball State 2-3 at home. Eastern Michigan has dropped four straight. Now sits. Eagles are 2-8. Cardinals are 3-7. Ball State also has lost 2 in a row. Both of those teams are on a winning streak. Ball State leads the all-time series 32-21 and 2 ties. Quarterback Reggie Bell for Eastern has passed for 769 yards for 4 touchdowns and gained 468 rushing yards. For Ball State, quarterback Jack Miles has thrown for 1,133 yards and 7 touchdowns against 5 interceptions, averaging 226.6 passing yards per game. Kevon Mabon leads the team with 598 receiving yards at wide receiver and 4 touchdowns, and Jordan Williams has a team-high 5 receiving scores. Let's fit in some Lions and Tigers real quick. Running back Reggie Bush is questionable, and running back Joique Bell is probable after returning to practice Thursday. He missed practice Wednesday. Also, Jason Jones, defensive end, has missed 2 days of practice but returned today after attending to an emergency surgery of his 7-month-old son, Cannon, to repair an unspecified issue. Lions take on the New England Patriots in Foxborough this Sunday at 1 o'clock on your local Fox television affiliate. Joe Lombardi has admitted tactical mistakes against the Cardinals last Sunday. I shared that on Facebook. Lombardi said, quote, I should have been more aware during that second half that Stafford should have got the ball to Golden Tate a lot more. And you can call plays that make it more likely that he'll get the ball. So that's certainly something after the game that I was aware of. Unquote. Lombardi also admitted that a failed 4th down play was flawed, and he would call something else in that situation next time. Detroit had mounted a rare drive against Arizona, moving from its own 1-yard line all the way to Arizona's 47 while trailing by 6 points midway through the 4th quarter. But the drive stalled while Matthew Stafford's pass to Calvin Johnson fell incomplete on a 4th and 2. Lombardi said, quote, I would have done it differently next time. I would have done it differently next time because I think that way we ran it to kind of lock Matt and Calvin in the nickel trap and made a good play to kind of force the throw a little wide. If it was a static formation, Matt would have read it normally and he would have seen an open receiver. But I think the way that we designed the play kind of locked him into Calvin. Also, Rob Gronkowski poses a stiff challenge for Detroit Lions' top-ranked defense. Also, the Tigers, not counting on Scherzer deal. Dave Dombrowski is asked if it was a possibility. I guess anything's a possibility. I think our odds were better last spring. We were the only club able to negotiate with them. We're not looking at trade price by any means, so the Tigers may actually just keep David Price instead and trade Max Scherzer for a better bullpen. So that's going to do it for Taylor's Detroit Sports episode 99 on Spreaker and on iHeartRadio. Back with the 100th episode of me, Taylor Phillips on Taylor Phillips' Detroit Sports page on Spreaker. TTFN, ta-ta for now.